The college football experience, Western Michigan Broncos 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. They just introduced college football best ball, folks. Get on over there, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Welcome to the college football experience. Western Michigan Broncos 2024 season preview episode. I think it's one of the most exciting years in at least like out of the past 3 or 4 years for the Western Michigan Broncos. Obviously, you had the PJ Fleck row the boat era where, hell, if you had a 12-team playoff, the Western Michigan Broncos, they would have been a part of that thing. Maybe they can get back there. YouTube.com/the college football experience as we continue to break down all 134 teams. The season starts. Western Michigan's got a game Friday night. I had to get this one in because we're almost through. We're like through final 4, I believe. So got to get this in before that Friday game as they head to Madison, jump around as they're taking on the Wisconsin Badgers. YouTube.com/the college experience. We just dropped our week 1 preview picks. Go listen to that. Our week 1 DFS slate is out. All that good stuff is out. We talk college football year round over there. But I do think it's an exciting time to be a Western Michigan fan. Lance Taylor, I thought they passed the eye test to me for a year 1 coach. They achieved what I thought. They overachieved what I thought would be, their season a year ago. And I think that's why a lot of people are optimistic. I talked to Alex Shear, my buddy, shout out to Alex Shear, who covers the MAC, who's really bullish on Western Michigan. I know NC Nick is very bullish on Western Michigan, and a few other people I've talked to in the college football circle seem to be bullish on Western Michigan. And I think I agree with them. We'll go through it and talk all about it, folks. I'll load up the slides here. But first, you're probably wondering just who the hell you're listening to. My name is Colby Swing at Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
That's accurate. Pour myself another cocktail. Talk a little Western Michigan Bronco football. What's not to like in life? I am excited about this Lance Taylor era, though, as we dive into it. YouTube.com/the college experience. And, I think when you look at this 4-8 in his first season, and I think, the first question so many people would have is how am I bullish on a guy who was 4-8 a season ago? It was, to me, they just looked ahead. I thought they were going to be a disaster, to tell you the truth. So I think they passed the eye test despite, having 8 losses. And to me, they just looked better than I thought they would be. I thought they were kind of going to be a train wreck last season. And it started really with that St. Francis game where they blew them out in the opener. Now, I know you'll say after that, Syracuse beats them 48-7. Iowa beats them 41-10, but I thought they fared well against a Toledo team that was really good. I know they still ended up losing by 18. They beat Ball State, and to me, this is one where they were in that game with Mississippi State and Starkville late, which had me intrigued. 13-point loss to the MAC champion Miami Redhawks. There, I mean, they 3-point loss to a double-digit win Ohio team. They beat a bowl team in in Eastern Michigan 45-21. They also took down Central Michigan, so won both the rivalry games. And then they did teeter off towards the final 2 games of the season with Northern Illinois getting the best of them, shutting them out, and then Bowling Green sticking it to them. So I could see that argument if you say, how the fuck are you this high on them? I just thought they passed the eye test and they were ahead of schedule of where I thought they would be. Lance Taylor, 4-8 in year 1, former Alabama wide receiver in the 90s. So it comes from that school of Alabama. And to me, not only was he a GA there with Nick Saban, is that he was at Appalachian State, which, obviously Alabama has incredible winning culture. We know that. They have just, from the days of Bear Bryant on and on and on. But App State also has winning culture. And then when he was at Stanford with David Shaw, to when he was at Notre Dame until his final season there at Louisville before he came over. It's an impressive resume. It really is. All those programs were winning while he was there for the most part. Now they did go out and hire a new OC in Walt Bell. I'm intrigued by that because Walt Bell wasn't the biggest fan of him at UMass and a couple other spots. We'll see how that works out. Defensive coordinator is Scott Power. Let's dive into this thing. But I mean, yeah, I'm intrigued to see. He comes from a very good lineage of coaching, you know what I mean? And programs that were very successful while he was a part of them. So I think that's very encouraging moving forward with Lance Taylor. Best wins. I mean, this is a program that, once again, you mentioned the 12-team playoff, why fans should be super excited and why alums and everyone should be donating to their NIL collective is because they have a history. They would have been in the playoffs. Had you done the 12-team exercise over the past 10 years, they would have been in the playoffs one of those years. And imagine the impact that could have on Kalamazoo now. So, and look at, the proof's in the pudding. They've beaten Iowa twice. No wonder Kirk Ferentz is hiring Tim Lester, because Iowa has gone to Kinnick and got it done. Also, and this is since the turn of the century, by the way, since 2000. At Virginia, they took down Patty C's Wahoos. They also won at Northwestern, at Illinois, at Pitt, when Pitt won the ACC championship with Kenny Pickett just a few years ago. So very encouraging stuff there. And I think this is why, if you're a Western Michigan alum, you say, why can't it be us? This should be us. We should be in the mix for the playoffs year in and year out moving forward. I think the biggest win there's got to be the Iowa one. Maybe Picks. They won the ACC championship. One of those two. Folks, want to tell you that you are listening to the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Part of the we're the College Football Experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and we are celebrating football season this August, September. Everything in the merch store is 10% off with the promo code football. So go out there and get yourself a Pick Dundee t-shirt. An East Carolina, we believe, a Mike Leach, our dear friend, Coach Leach, who passed away. May he rest easy. We have shirts honoring him and honoring the book he wrote, Swing Your Sword. Go check out that. We just have a slew of really cool shirts. So get on over there and check them out. Sports Gambling Podcast, the Bet Detective. Get on over there. Use that promo code football. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right. Back talking Western Michigan football. I like this old school logo they got there. 88th in scoring per game at 23.7 points per game, 6th best in the MAC, 78th in yards, 3rd best in the MAC, 84th in passing, 2nd best in the MAC, and 72nd in rushing. And I think that is why I think we're all encouraged. Now, obviously, this is going to be a different offense coordinator. Walt Bell's coming in. But all of those numbers, and I think this goes back to why we're high on Lance Taylor, all of them charting, there's 12 teams in the MAC. Every single statistic in offensive side of the ball, they were on the better half in year one, in a year which, you know, we thought that there was just a lot of changing. So very impressive numbers in my opinion. They got 9 starters back on the offense, led by former Old Dominion Monarch Hayden Wolf. Also running back Jalen Buckley ran for over 1,000 yards a season ago. And I'm intrigued, really, this whole offense. You bring back your 3 starting wideouts and Anthony Sambuki, Kenny Womack, and Malik Dudane. Tight end Blake Bosmo is back. 3 of 5 on the offensive line is back. This offense, Walt Bell, you got to answer the call here. This offense should be pretty damn good. And arguably, I think you can make the case, since DeQuan Finn is gone and the entire Toledo offensive line and Penny Boone, and with the fact that let's take a look around and think about some of the other teams. Rourke for Ohio and their whole team is gone. Those 2 offenses, I think, I know last year Ohio wasn't as good offensively, but the year before they were really good. So you would tend to think those teams would be leading the way. Central Michigan starting quarterback transferred out to Sam Houston State. So, I mean, you definitely lost some guys. You know, each team took some hits. Cole Snyder leaves Buffalo. Now he goes to Eastern, but still it's a new offense, new team. I think this should be among the best offense in the MAC. It should be in the mix for top 3 to me. If Walt Bell can't achieve this, then I would say it's somewhat of a failure there. Very exciting. Now they did lose some guys. Treson Bourget heads out to BYU. I kind of liked his game. We'll see what happens with him at BYU. Jack Salopak goes to Elon. We'll see how he does there in the FCS. And Stone Hallenbach, which was the former Alabama transfer, he hits the portal, hasn't landed anywhere yet. Besides that, I mean, yeah, CJ Hester heads out to UMass, who will be in the MAC next year. Not a lot of meat on the bone there as far as other losses there that really impacted this team a season ago. So I think they did a good job, with the exception of maybe quarterback depth. And they went out and look what they did in the portal. They brought in Brock Lowry from Indiana at the quarterback spot. What I love is running back Jaden Nixon coming in. And then they went out and raided the Pussy Pack, NC State. Jordan Parker coming in at the wide receiver spot. I'm sorry. NC State was Chris Total at the tight end spot. You're going to hear me mention NC State again in a minute. Jordan Parker, the wideout, coming in from New Mexico State, which they won 10 games there with Jerry Kill. And also my favorite wide receiver, Bugs Mortimer from ULM, is coming in, as well as offensive tackle Quinn Murphy from Notre Dame. You know you got to love it when you get a Notre Dame offensive lineman. So I really think they won this transfer portal on the offensive side of the ball, so to speak. I'd say this is why it's super encouraging. It's super encouraging to see some of these gets and who are they able to retain. So shout out to the chat. I see Rolex Dad in there putting in the hours. Let's go. Yeah. Season's right around the corner. Got to get these things done. You know, if you left, appreciate you. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hop on over there. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, this is what you got to fix up, you know, 106, but this is year one. So even these were somewhat encouraging to me. 106 in scoring per game. That was 11th best in the MAC. That was second worst in the MAC. 84th in yards, second worst in the MAC. 81st in pass defense, second worst in the MAC, and 8th in the MAC in rush defense, 82nd nationally. So to me, the rushing number seems all right. The rest you really gotta, improve. But for year one, I mean, this is what I kind of expected. You know, if anything, maybe a little bit better from a rush defense point of view. So I'm not gonna. I think they will be better this year. And you look what they got, 7 starters back. This team, production wise, short of Miami, Ohio, and them, I feel like bringing everybody back. You got to be bullish on these two teams in the MAC this season. But 7 starters back on the defensive side of the ball, 2 on the line of scrimmage: Corey Walker and Isaiah Green. Linebackers Jacob Wahlberg and Damari Robinson back, and then 3 of 4 in the secondary, led by Tate Halleck. Also, kicker Palmer Dom Schke is back at the kicker spot if they're in a close game. All of this very, very encouraging stuff. But I even think they hit it out of the park again. We'll talk about this in a second here, but I want to tell you folks out there that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter. Or you can play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Yes, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. We just dropped an episode. Best Ball Draft. NC Nick, Moneyline Mac. I jump in there for a little bit on this very feed. You can go listen to it. And we just dropped the DFS episode today. So go check out that as well. You can now use specials to boost on all flexed entries. So hop on over there. Once again, sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com promo code TCESGPN. Shout out to Alien Ghostfather. It's been a big drop off since Row the Boat. Yeah. I mean, you wonder though, this is what I would ask. And the answer is probably he still would have moved along, but I do wonder, had PJ Fleck had the playoff, then he would have qualified for the playoff and they would have went to the playoff one of those years. And it would have been the most exciting thing Kalamazoo's had in a long fucking time, probably. And then you never know. The NIL collective steps up. You see Boise going out buying a 5-star off of USC's roster. I do believe access breeds, fandom in a way, and fandom A plus B equals E. Fandom bleeds financial, buy-in. So you wonder what could be down the road, and maybe had there been that 12-team playoff, you never know. Maybe more money comes in. You're able to lock him up in a long-term deal. Maybe he stays there. Who knows? We'll never know. But I think it's a different day and age in college football. And I think it's very exciting with this 12-team playoff. And I think hopefully they expand it even more. So I think this is very, very encouraging though. This many players back, and look what they did in the portal, by the way. Now they lost a few guys, but once again, they were able to retain a lot, Okay, you lose your punter to Michigan State. Sparty comes in and swoops him. But other than that, Savion Brown to Buffalo, a little bit in the secondary. Okay, your Buffalo is in the conference. Anthony Rumpf to Charlotte. Okay, I'll buy into like a little tiny hits. But to me, look what they brought in. Popeye Williams is a former 4-star recruit coming in on the D end, projected starter day one from Louisville. They also brought in Rodney McGraw, another defensive end from Louisville, and Terrio Thompson from Iowa. I don't care who you are. If you play defensive line in Iowa, you're good, and you're going to be good in the MAC. Linebacker Dominic Moon also comes in from Purdue, and then a couple, Ryan Raybuck, a safety from St. Anselm, and safety Armani Adams from the FAU in Boca Raton. There, I think they knocked the portal out the park, and this is why I think so many people are encouraged. The year one performance from an eye test, especially the offense, bringing back this many starters and dominating the portal, in my opinion. So, can Lance Taylor make it all work? I think that's the question we're all asking ourselves. And it seems to be very encouraging though. I'd say like if you're a Western Michigan, this is probably the most excited you are since that win at Pitt. Cause I think once you beat Pitt and Pitt ended up, winning the ACC a couple years ago, I think you thought you could win the MAC, but I think, obviously that didn't work out. Tim Lester's moved along. I think this is a pretty exciting time to be a Bronco fan. Let's take a look at that win total. Sitting at 6.5 wins. Even Vegas says this is a bowl team this year. Plus 6,500 to win the MAC. Plus 20,000 there to win the 12 or to make the 12-team playoff, and plus 500,000 to win the national championship. Now, what is encouraging here is Vegas actually the book that I'm looking at is leaning towards a 7-5 season. Knowing that you play 2 Power 5s out the gate, one this Friday, Wisconsin, and another one being Ohio State, you're basically saying after you take those L's there, that you're going to go 7-3 the rest of the year. Which I think is very encouraging because you could be in the mix for a MAC championship then. Let's talk about it. But before I do that, I want to let the folks know that the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do we even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI powered sports betting platform, It helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line spreads, totals, and props. And look, the Rhythm college football model loved Delaware State in the points. Pick Dundee did as well. We cashed in on that on the island. Build your own model and get ready for week 1 college football. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, 6.5, the win total. I kind of like it blindly. I kind of like it with that much production returning. Let's take a look at the schedule. Week 1, like I said, this Friday night, they're catching 24. I already have a wager on this. Now I got it at 24.5, but I think they're going to give Wisconsin a game in Madison. I think they're going to give them a game in Madison. I'm excited to see this one. I see Ryan Hasty in the chat agrees with me. I think that's going to, I got to favor Wisconsin obviously, but I'm taking that 24.5. Load up on that. But let's just say 0-1 because it is Madison. Jump around, all that shit. So, and I forgot to power rank these on the right. My apologies. At Ohio State week 2, they'll lose. Home to Bethune-Cookman week 3. I think they will win that game. Then they get a bye week 4. That's a key bye week because if they had to, getting your 3 of your 4 non-con games on the road is tricky. But I think that Marshall game is winnable. Now I think I got to favor Marshall because it's in Huntington, but I think they could win that game. Marshall, an old MAC foe. But let's say 1-3 out the gate there. Then they're at Ball State. It is a tricky back-to-back away there. 4 out of your first 5 games, road games. I'm going to give them Ball State. So if I didn't give them Marshall, I'm going to give them Ball State, get that second win there. Then they are home to Akron. I misspelled that. Jeez, I'm all over the fucking place. That's a win. That'll be a third win there. If I had to lean that way. At Buffalo, Pete Lembo, I like the higher, but I think I lean Western Michigan there. So that would be a 4th win for me. Then home to Kent State. That'd be a 5th win to me. They get a bye week home to Northern Illinois. That'd be a 6th win to me. Now they do have another set of back-to-back away games at Bowling Green, Maction, November 12th, followed by at Central Michigan, November 19th. All you need is 1 win here though, to hit that over. I think between one of those final 3, they will hit that over and go 7-5. Now this is the schedule in conference is genius. You don't play Toledo, who went 11-1 last year. You don't play Miami, Ohio, who won the MAC and upset Toledo in the championship game, who returns everybody, by the way. And those are the 2 you want to avoid. You also avoid Ohio, who won 10 games a season ago. So that's 3 of the best programs in this conference you're missing. You're also getting Bowling Green we expect to be good. So that's your toughest in-conference road game. Central Michigan, McElwain could be fired by then. Now, I tend to think he's going to survive the season, but he could be fired by November 19th, and then that could be a much more winnable game there at taking on your rivals in Mount Pleasant. Love the fact you get Buffalo and Ball State as your other road spots. It's really taking care of at Waldo Stadium there, and shout out to Waldo's Bar. Get those liquor pitchers, folks. But it's really taking care of home, making sure you don't trip up to Akron, which I do expect Joe Moorhead to have them a little more competitive. Kent State to me is just an automatic win. Northern Illinois though is an interesting team. I think if you're not looking, Northern Illinois could beat you. They could still be a contender in this conference. And then Chris Creighton at Eastern Michigan will have them. It seems like he'll always find a way to get them bowling. They got to take care of home field there at Waldo Stadium, I think, if they really want to contend for a MAC championship. But I do believe your MAC championship will probably have a team with 3 losses in conference this year. It could be Western Michigan here, especially since they don't play. I don't know how they'd have to die. There's no more divisions in the MAC, so the tiebreaker would be very interesting. but I think they would have a decent shot at getting there. So I like the over. It's not a crazy. I don't think this is a lock by any means. They're plus 6,500 to win the MAC though. If they get it, that schedule could get you to the championship game. So right then you're just a one-off away from winning the MAC, much like Miami, Ohio did last year. Let's be honest. Toledo was the best team in the MAC a season ago. And I think people, you could make the case Ohio might have been second before the Rourke injury, but Miami, Ohio was able to sneak in there, and then they won with the backup quarterback, might I add, against DeQuan Finn and the Toledo Rockets there at that filthy Ford Field that they got to move that championship game out of that shit. But I like the over. I think they're going to go 7-5. Not a lock though. I think NC Nick might have locked this thing up, but I want to see it. Walt Bell's let me down before at the OC spot. We'll see how he does. But yeah, I think it's worth the sprinkle though, because I have him 7-5, but 3 of your losses are in the non-con at Wisconsin, at Ohio State, and at Marshall. I only have you with 2 losses in conference, and that's what, at Bowling Green and probably in one of the Central or Eastern Michigan. So it's a very nice conference schedule. I think there's a good shot they're playing for the MAC championship there. So I say, actually, instead of me betting the over, which I'm going to lean over, I think I might just buy a ticket at plus 6,500 for them to win the MAC. I think that's the way you should bet this thing. But Lance Taylor, and here's the scary part though. Let's say they do win the MAC. If they win the MAC, if they play for the MAC championship and upset, I don't know, Miami, Ohio, or Toledo, Lance Taylor's like 43 years old. You gotta wonder if someone comes calling. I think that's the hard part, is like, does someone come calling? Does a school with more resources perhaps, or wanting to throw more money in? He played at Bama. Where's he from? Like, as far as he's from Alabama too. So you wonder, I guess if the Trent Dilfer thing went horrible at UAB, and they decided to pull the plug, I think they'd give him a 3rd year probably. Troy and South Alabama already replaced their coaches, but you do wonder about anyone, Georgia Southern or something down there. But I'm excited to watch Western Michigan this year. I'm all over the 24.5 against Wisconsin, and I'm going to sprinkle that MAC championship at 6,500. Sprinkle that thing. Let's go. That's our show. Well, look, I got Eastern Michigan coming up next. We're going to power through some of these final teams so we get ready for the season here. So who's the quarterback at Western Michigan? Hayden Wolf. He was the starter last season. He was a pretty good quarterback. I liked him at Old Dominion too. He's been starting. This will be his 3rd year starting college football. So I'm intrigued by what's going on there. Veteran team. How many starters did I say? It's like, I don't know, 16 starters back, I think. So MAC championship sprinkle. Let's go. Folks. Look, I know I was solo tonight. That's the way it's got to be sometimes in the final dog days of summer before the season kicks. But we talk college football year round here. Subscribe to the College Football Experience, iTunes, Spotify. But I'm a big believer in the YouTube, the viewing product of the show as well. YouTube.com/the College Experience. And that's the hub for all of our stuff. The College Basketball Experience. We talk college basketball year round. Check that out. Moneyline Max doing all these great interviews with all these coaches. And when the season goes live, we'll be live every night of the season talking college hoops as well. And just like we're talking college football pretty much every night of the season, I think, except for Sundays. So, subscribe. We also have the College Baseball Experience, the FCS College Football Experience. Check that all out, folks. And here's one for you. All those come together as one. YouTube.com/the College Experience. But also check out the Stadium Heads podcast. If you love Wrigley Field or the Green Monster in the MLB ranks, or Yankee Stadium, the older one. But what's great about college football, and I don't think it's talked about enough, is college football has about like 150 or 100 cathedrals like that And they're everywhere. They're the biggest to me. Like it's the most undersold aspect of college football. One of the more undersold things. Your average American, I don't think, realizes that college football actually goes back further than the MLB. A lot of people say, well, baseball is America's pastime. Well, do your history on that. College football was about 3 or 4 years before the MLB. And a lot of these stadiums they've been there a long time. And then, so I highly recommend check out the Stadium Heads podcast, where we talk about the history of college football and college football stadiums. Hop on over there. Waldo Stadium. We love Waldo Stadium there in Kalamazoo. Check it all out. Me and Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour. Give the college football experience a Twitter. Give them a tweet follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Follow over there if you're on X. If not, just check out the YouTube. I'm on Twitter, the Colby D. Till next time, folks. I'm going to be back in like 10 minutes, probably less than that. Talking Eastern Michigan Eagle football. Dog days of summer. We got football coming. Take the 24.5 against Wisconsin. Let's go. Till next time. This is the college football experience, Western Michigan Bronco style. Buck 'em. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.